Today, the edge of our hope, the end of our time. Today, there's not a man nor woman in here that shall stand alone. Today, we face the monsters that are at our door and bring the fight to them. Today, we are canceling the apocalypse. For the resistance, I've got a plan. I need you ready. All the other Mark III pilots are dead.
You're not protecting her now. You are holding her back. This is worth fighting for.
Sir, what are you doing? All I need to be to you and everybody on this dome is a fixed point.
You gotta get us all killed. Here's the thing, Lee.
I want to come back from this mission, so why don't you just do us all a favor and disappear? It's the only thing you're good at.
A long time ago, I made you a promise.
This is just a memo.
I need you to protect me. You are a brave girl. I'm so lucky to have seen you grow.
You come with chaos! Stand strong back in the gun! We can still reach you! Arco! You can finish this! I'll always be here for you! Hold on!
Welcome all, MWA family. Cody's with Cody Kaiju Custom here, and we have a beautiful podcast for you guys tonight, talking about the American Beauty, Pacific Rim. One of my favorites personally. I think it's a wonderful film. I can't get enough of it. I know it's got some. There we go. I know it gets a lot of love and hate here and there, but before we get into that, let's start off with our amazing host tonight. To my right, there we go. To my left, we got.
What's up, Kaiju family? This guy's Little Chain 1090 and the crew, Monster of Attitude, storming to your station today with another wonderful review. Talking about, like Cody said, the wonderful Pacific Rim. This is one of my favorite American movies. I absolutely cannot wait to get into it.
Next to him, the epic bearded Kaiju King. Oh, look at that. God, give me some, bro. Give me some.
Fine.
Do a beard flip.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, it's been a minute. I was not able to do the last show, and it seems like it's been forever since I was able to do a show. So it's good to be back, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about some Jaeger and some Kaiju battling and stuff like that. So yeah, let's go.
And below me, we got the Gigan fanatic. You all know him. You all know him. Samson West.
I know that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Godzilla fans? Can't wait to talk about this one. Yes, this is a personal favorite. It's probably the greatest giant monster movie from America in recent time.
Dude, I can't believe we agree on something. That's insane.
I know. What am I? Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Back from the dead, we got Nick Adams. What is up, my man?
Feel much better now. Thank you. Much better. Yeah. Reincarnated, bit younger.
But, ooh, yes, yes.
But yeah,
A little browner.
Yes, yeah. Figured the blonde hair needed to go. Yeah, blue eyes needed to go. Yeah, a lot of things needed to go actually. So yeah, we're here. Host of the Monster Report, Pacific Rim's a favorite. Thank you for playing the trailer. Check it out on the channel. It does have some better audio on the channel, but whatever. Check it out. I loved putting that one together with some music that I felt like that was it kind of told Mako's story, and I felt like that music kind of worked for that. But yeah, Pacific Rim, saw it twice in the theater a decade ago. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was still in high school.
It just doesn't seem that long ago, but saw it in 3D and in 2D in the theater. And, it was one of those that I would have had more time. I would have just kept going back because when I saw Jurassic Park as a kid, I saw it tons of times in the theater, more than I can remember, actually. But it was, one of those replayable movies that I'm glad to be here and talking with you guys about it.
Nice. And last but not least, the king of drinking on streams. We got Thirsty Thursday.
Oh, never mind.
He makes some sweet drinks. The coolest Kaiju drinks.
True.
It's got in the bottle.
Oh, you're muted, man.
It's so good.
Oh, I can hear you, Adam.
It's silent.
Okay.
We've got audio issues with Adam right now.
Oh, buddy.
Cannot hear you, buddy.
You're not muted, so.
I have to hold up like Wile E. Coyote signs, so we can.
I still can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah, nope. Nada.
Nada.
Can't hear you. We'll figure it out.
Nothing.
We'll figure it out.
So we just jump in the questions then?
Yeah. Kick us off,
Okay.
man.
All right. Cool.
He'll come back hopefully with audio.
He'll work it out.
Yeah. We'll get
All
us
right.
back together.
So, I'm gonna jumble up the questions just a tad bit. So my first question: as an American Kaiju fan, we all grew up here watching Godzilla, watching all the classics. What is Pacific Rim to you? Are you proud that this company came through and made this movie, and we have this to display, as opposed to Japan has Godzilla?
There we go.
Adrian, want to start us out?
Well, wait, let's see if Adam's unmuted.
Can we hear you?
Adam.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you
And I can
go.
hear you guys, and there's no delay.
Introduce yourself, man.
Yes,
Yeah, now you can introduce him.
I'm just having water right now, but
Oh, all right.
I could mix up a thing. I got a Kaiju Blue recipe.
No Pacific Rim drinks.
Kaiju Blue.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got the blue.
I got my own blue. Just it's white trash, but it's still blue.
Blue is blue.
Gosh.
All right, I'll repeat the question since we're all grouped up now. We're all ready to go. So, as an American Kaiju fan, what does Pacific Rim mean to you? Are you happy with it? Do you like it? Are you happy to display it? Like, yeah, we made this. This is our creation. Start off with Adrian.
I am honestly, I really am proud that America finally came up with a giant monster slash giant robot film. Because really, before now, we really haven't had anything to hang our hats on as far as American goes, besides King Kong. But that was King Kong,
Yeah.
right? So we took Power Rangers from Super Sentai. We took a lot of stuff from Japan that have the giant monsters that we actually do have. But the fact that why am I blinking on the director's name all of a sudden? I forgot his name. But anyways, the fact that Legendary was able, yes, Del Toro, thank you. With Legendary and Del Toro at the helm of it, he made honestly a masterpiece for this generation of kaiju fans. The newer generation of kaiju fans to go back and say, "Oh my God, this is all American kaiju movie." Because seeing it for the first time in theater, and I would definitely went theaters to see this, and it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years ago. Oh my God! So, and I was just in amazing awe when I watched this movie, and of course, it got me excited for the 2014 Godzilla getting ready to come out. But this is probably, like I said earlier, probably one of my favorite American kaiju movies.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, I agree. It's cool that as an American we could put out this kind of movie because we are not known for this kind of movie. Like, this is not our forte in any way. That is the Japanese. That is anybody else that does this stuff. We don't do this. So getting this kind of movie it really kickstarted a lot of things to be set in motion. You know, a lot of people talk about Godzilla 2014 kind of started the kaiju boom and stuff like that. This movie lit that fire.
Oh yeah,
to make Godzilla as big as it was, because we didn't see this kind of stuff on the big screen, and just having a person like Del Toro behind it who is a fan just like we are of this kind of stuff, that it hit home because it was like, it was proud to be like, yes, we did this. We brought this, you know, it's really good. We didn't have to wait for, you know, somebody else to make this and stuff like that. And I wish that they would have gave Del Toro the keys after how I think it did pretty decent for the most part. But just gave them keys that, hey, run with this a little bit more, you know, or run with the monster or something to give him more control over their thing and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it does bring a lot of pride, you know, to know that, you know, us as, you know, giant monsters, mechs, you know, robots, whatever, we can make something like this and the whole world can enjoy, especially, you know, others who have perfected the art of this kind of stuff. So yeah, it was great. All right, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, Eric nailed my thoughts on this. This was huge for people who aren't like typically or traditionally into kaiju films. They loved it. They wanted to see it again and again, and that really opened the door for like other, like, you know, Godzilla things, the Legendary Monsterverse, and then like, you know, my friends like, I want more. What do you have that's similar? Which has been huge. And like watching this, I'm like, do I like this more than most Godzilla movies? How did this happen?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a, you know, top 5 film of all time for me for that one. And like you said, like we don't do this, but we did, and we can. So, so good.
All right, Nick.
Right. So I heard about this actually from Del Toro talking at San Diego Comic-Con. I wasn't there. I did get to see the video of his panel where he had members of the crew, members of the cast actually there, which at that time, you know, other than Ron Perlman, I really didn't recognize anyone else in it. But I was like, you know what? I already like it because it's Del Toro. I was at that point a fan of Hellboy and of Blade 2. The best of the Blade series, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And Labyrinth.
And when I remember going back and seeing, you know, Blade 2 and then hearing later, oh, that was Del Toro. And it's like, oh, well, yeah. And I love Hellboy. So it's like, you know, I could see his style in that, and that he really, you know, knows visual effects well. He knows the use of color, knows how to shoot very incredibly well to bring us into this story well. And he in that panel, boy, as big a guy he was full of energy, and he was talking about, are you ready to see some giant monsters fight some giant effing robots? And it was just like, man, he is so excited about this. He's just getting me pumped for it. But the funny thing, during that little preview he had, he actually never gave the title. I don't remember it because I was like looking it up, and I was like, what's the big Del Toro giant monster and robot movie called? And I was like, Pacific Rim. Okay, that works as a title. It doesn't really tell me much, but I was like, I've got to see this, and saw it twice, like I said, and I mean, just blown away. And the fact that he had ILM doing the visual effects, I mean, he's got the varsity crew and a group, working on this, and it was blown away expectations. And the fact that they actually say the word kaiju, we're already as fans of that saying they're using the word good. That's going to become something that more Americans will hear and understand. And when we talk about kaiju, they're going to be like, what's that mean again? No, they should know now. I'm done. Yeah.
Just before you go, Samson, Leslie was nice enough to drop a little teaser for Per Wonderfest, which is going on. We will see more stuff later, but obviously Spiral just revealed a gigantic 84 and 2 gigantic size Shin Godzilla. So happy birthday to Shin, 7 years, and he's getting 2 more figures. So
does he have enough yet? Or
I know.
More. Now we need a gigantic frozen one, and then a 4th form that's imagined.
Feeding off of what Nick said, I love how America, we got to have something that was all our own. It was original IP. It was something that doesn't really exist. I mean, yes, there's always giant monsters and giant robots, but this is a universe that doesn't actually exist yet. The specific universe that they created with these specific robots and these specific kaiju. And like you said, they used the word kaiju in the film, and they even did that like Pulp Fiction intro where they did the definition of the word Jaeger and kaiju at the very beginning of the film. So you got to actually have the definition and its orientation or where it came from. Its origin, not orientation. And to have something like this, even all my friends that are non-kaiju fans, I brought them to see it in theaters. I had like house watching parties, and even my parents, everyone that I've sat down and showed it to, they say they love it. As huge groupie kaiju fans like we are, they love it, and that just makes me even more proud because I get oh yes, I can show this to non-kaiju fans, and even they can appreciate how awesome this movie is. And having Guillermo del Toro as the director, who we all love and appreciate his movies, for him to be a kaiju fan, I think that's what really hit it home to make it as good as it was. He appreciated the source material, and he made it something that we as kaiju fans could also be proud of.
If more directors followed that, or they pick directors who actually know what they're doing or fans of, these movies we get in Hollywood nowadays would be so much better.
Oh, and I guess the other thing I wanted to say was the fact that it was kind of an American release, that made it big because it was released like all around the world. It was advertised like crazy. If anything in America comes out, the whole world is going to know about it. So for him to do that made the whole world aware of giant monster movies, even more so than they already were. And it launched the career and the double-digit 2000s like we have now. That's what launched the Godzilla films in America, and Legendary Pictures, they had it going on.
Yep. No, you guys definitely hit the nail on the head, especially you, Samson. When you have a fan of the genre make that film and put his love and craft into it, you are going to get something great. I mean, look at how 98 turned out. They didn't care about Godzilla. They were like, all right, that's money. I'll make it.
Who didn't?
And it turned out to be garbage. But you get this guy that loves the universe, has built it up for him, has built it into something that we as the fans can appreciate, and then he gets to turn into a movie. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it really shows.
Well, impressive stores in Japan, man. He was like all around the Ultraman stores and buying kaiju stores and everything. It was so cool.
Like this is his shtick, and the fact that he got to make the film and it was good as it is, great as it is, it still holds up today. I'd bet money it holds up today. Just the
Yeah, I was just at the box office right here.
But yeah, it's personally one of my top 3 maybe even kaiju films. Seen it in theaters with someone who didn't know what Godzilla was, and have them being like, "That's cool. What's that? Wow, they're huge." I'm like, dude, I know. Like, this is why I love this stuff so much.
I've been saying this all my life.
Right, like, this is why I'm into it. This is so cool. And then, that just led into the next year with Godzilla coming out. I think it grew the potential fan base for Godzilla that much more, because people probably saw previews or something. They're like, that's kind of cool. Like, what other's another big monster? Godzilla. Yeah. What if they fought? It just gets the discussion going, gets the topic up. Year later, Godzilla comes out and it's a huge hit. So I think it was perfect timing to drop that movie, and I'm really happy they did. It was a beautiful scene in theaters, and that's what kickstarted the whole MonsterVerse. Getting to see Godzilla movies in the theater for me was Pacific Rim. Nice. All right, time for our second question. Now, a lot of these kaiju designs, they're all based off animals. They all have some unique inspiration to them. I personally love the design of almost all of them. They're super unique. What's your guys' favorite? And is there anyone that you think that could work in the MonsterVerse Godzilla universe? Not saying they go toe-to-toe with him or anything, but to me, they're pretty believable. So, what do you think about that, Adrian?
As far as my favorite kaiju in Pacific Rim, is definitely Knifehead. First one we see on scene, he pretty much jacks up, almost murders Gypsy Danger completely. There's everything about Knifehead is awesome to me. I love his design. I love how aggressive he was. He was absolutely incredible. So Knifehead is for sure my favorite, and one of my Knifehead fight guy again. That'd be awesome. Okay. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I dug all the main kaiju that they showed. I really liked all their designs and stuff like that. Some of the other stuff that was kind of in the background or quick glances, were okay. But I would say my favorite would probably be Otachi. He couldn't. Yeah, there you go. Right below me down there. He was just crazy because
the wings out of nowhere.
Yeah, beat up. He get stuff ripped off, cut up, whatever. And he just kept going. I was like, what is it going to take to stop this thing? Like, realistically, I was like, wow. I was like, this thing is crazy with his tail. All of a sudden comes out, and then all of a sudden he pulls out his wings. I was like, this thing has tricks in the bag for days. Like, he just keeps coming.
Really did.
And it was a great fight scene. But I think the one that would transfer the best, I think, would probably be Leatherback. He's just more gorilla looking and stuff like that. He was very agile but very strong, brute strength and stuff like that. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I think he would have transferred the best. So I love both of those, but I think Otachi just overdoes it a little bit than Leatherback. But yeah, what do you, Adam?
My favorite was Raiju, who needs a figure. I mean, there was like a tiny one, but yeah, we need more Raiju. I love anything that's like crocodilian in nature. So as soon as I saw that, like,
face, right?
And then the face like split. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I love that one. But yeah, I think what would be the design that we'd most likely see would be Leatherback. I agree on that one. But Otachi is a close second for me. So good.
I gotta go Knifehead in both. Actually, I'd love to see Gamera versus Knifehead because he fought Guiron. So he's already a version of Knifehead. I've actually in my reviews kind of said Guiron's the early version of Knifehead. Mm-hmm. So it's he's already gone against that kaiju already. But what they did with Knifehead with that, I think it's called a goblin shark. The way they kind of designed his head and his teeth and all of that. Yeah. He's got that just very evil face, frightening, stuff that nightmares are made out of. So it's Knifehead all the way. And I love his coloration. That is awesome. Like, it's almost body Titan.
Megalon color.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, why does he need that? He doesn't. but definitely intimidating looking. It's his. It's he served some time and got his tats going on.
I'm gonna say tats, man. That's what he has some tattoos.
Oh, good.
For every Jaeger I get another white or yellow stripe.
That's right. Go Samson.
All right, so a personal favorite, of course, because of how much that it like Eric said, it kept like transforming to adapt to being beaten like crazy, was definitely Otachi. But personally, the one that I like, even though it's very short-lived, it's the kaiju from the very beginning of the film. And there's two different names I'm seeing here. It's either Trespasser or Axehead. I can't remember which one is the one at the beginning of the film, where he has the two giant arms and he has four little tiny arms underneath. So he's like really out there, mutated and crazy looking, which fits in the kaiju realm of Godzilla and stuff like that. We always have monsters with ridiculous limbs and anatomy and whatnot. And I thought that one personally looked the coolest and beefiest and weirdest to me. But Otachi ranks in as probably the toughest, but the one that I like personally the best design wise would be either Trespasser or Axehead, whichever the one from the beginning is actually called.
I wonder if he's Trespasser because someone's Oscar saying that, and because what is it, Axehead? What did you call him again? The other one?
Axehead, because I'm looking at the list here and they look exactly the same kind of.
I think Axehead, fought Stryker in Australia in that.
He breaks through the wall and everything. Send him back.
Mutavor.
Oh, okay.
Mutavor. Mutavor.
Really?
That was the one that fought Stryker. And when they saw the video clip and it busted through the wall, that's what that one's called. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, they never really named some of the other ones, but the opening there when he takes out that bridge was pretty awesome. It's an awesome way to open the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just
unstoppable force.
I mean, that's what kaiju are.
Exactly. Represented well in this movie. So my favorite, and I think you guys are pretty right, pretty spot on. Leatherback would translate the best. And I just love how ridiculously overpowered and beefy he is. From the second that he comes out of the rift, and he's swimming up, he takes out Cherno, he beats up the Striker Eureka, or not Striker, the Chinese robot. I can't think of the name.
Crimson Typhoon.
Typhoon. When he goes on land and almost takes out Gypsy Danger. They have a beautiful fight. He's one of my favorite kaiju out of any type of universe. Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman. I think he would translate well. I think he would be a big beefy Godzilla fighter. But yeah, there's just something about the big brutes that just get me every time. They're just the coolest.
She was a gorilla kaiju. And it's a she, right? Because it was, or wait, are they all she's? Otachi was a she because she was pregnant.
Yeah. I don't know if they go into that.
I don't think they
don't really go into it too much.
Yeah.
So, third question. Would you like to have seen more of the kaiju invasion plot built up throughout the movie instead of where the movie's starting, especially it's essentially the end game? They're already sending kaiju in to take us out. Would you have liked to see a little bit more backstory going on with what we're up against? Adrian.
Honestly, for Pacific Rim, I don't think that would have worked. At least for the first film. You should have got a prequel film for sure, showing exactly where all these kaiju came from. But as a starting point, especially for American audiences, they don't have the attention. I'm being completely honest. A lot of them don't have the attention span for it for the mainstream audience. They're not going to sit there, oh, what is this thing coming out of the ground? Oh, they can't stop it. It's killing everything. Oh, they killed the monster. Like, it's not going to work for them. So for Pacific Rim's sake, they had to start where they did to draw everybody in. If they should have went back and did a prequel, or even with the Netflix series, they even probably could have done that and have that be the prequel. But y'all seen the Netflix series. Y'all know what it is. So as far as the first Pacific Rim movie, it wouldn't have worked, but I think we should have got a prequel after the fact. What about you, Eric?
Honestly, I would have liked it. I wanted to know more about these aliens and where they came from, and just see everybody's reaction to like the first kaiju coming. which we kind of got a little bit with Trespasser when he came at the bridge and stuff like that. I don't think anybody had seen a kaiju yet and everything, and all of a sudden this giant thing was attacking this bridge and stuff. So we got a little glimpse of it, but really to see how we got to where we were. Like, they had mechs all over the country. They had places building this stuff like crazy, but it's like, it would have been nice to see like how they took out maybe the first one or two kaiju, because they ain't going to build these things overnight. Like, this thing, I mean, they probably didn't even think of this at first. They probably used modern weapons to kill these things and stuff like that. And maybe it was enough to kill them and stuff, but like, they knew they couldn't sustain that. They had to do something else.
After 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days of nuking. They finally nuked it.
That would have said 3 days later they were eventually able to kill it.
Yeah. Okay,
without the Jaegers, so they were like, "This isn't gonna work."
So it would have made the film a different tone, because like it just would have brought where like humanity is like, holy crap, like they're on their heels, they don't know what to do to kill this thing and everything, and then all of a sudden they finally do. They're like, okay, like, what if this thing comes back? What are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna protect ourselves, kind of thing. Like, there's so much that they could have explored, and I'm actually surprised they didn't start that way, because a lot of times, in the US, we always start with origin stories. Like, that's just how we start movies and stuff. So where they started was very different, and I applaud that and everything, because it got you right into the action. So it wasn't very stagnant in any way. But it would have just been nice to get a backstory a little bit to where these things came from, how we beat them, and how we started to build these Jaegers and stuff like that. So this might be Adam.
I would love to see it. I would not change Pacific. I wouldn't go back and like, oh, they should have done this, but I would love to see that. Like you said, there is so much. I mean, we could do a whole like prequel of, from the first kaiju attack to figuring out where it come from, learning about the breach, building the first Jaeger, and then we start to win, and that could be, the end of the film kind of thing. But like you said, it would have been tonally different. And I think if they tried to put all that in there, that would have been too rushed. I mean, not that like the info dump at the beginning wasn't rushing it, but that's something that I think should really be explored. And that's what the sequel should have been. It should have been a prequel where we see all that, how the pilots become rock stars kind of thing. So I hope at some point you get that outside of like the comics and stuff. I would love to see that.
Agree.
And I'm with you, Adam, on that, because the pacing of the film, it was rushed, but we need to get into the action. We need to get to the point where we're engaging with the Jaeger pilots and get right to that first failure. Essentially, we've seen them get to the point where they're rock stars and all that, and we're already into this story. But yeah, you could lose attention easily if we spent too much time with that establishment. I think the audience gets it. But here's what to maybe get some of that out there, which would have been very cool to do if they had the time, budget, energy to do something to this effect, would have been something like YouTube shorts, videos out there prior to the film that gave us little glimpses of this prequel that never was. They did have that, like you said, the somewhat of establishment with all the news clips and the President Obama cameo there. I mean, it was like, well, it's now time to fight those monsters. Yes. Let me be clear. So it was like, that was very cool and engaging, but yeah, you don't want to spend too much time on that. But what if you did some of that beforehand and threw out little news clips that are fake, obviously, with the Jaeger pilots and their interviews, and they're just all the women are falling all over them. They got their jackets on with the custom logos and all that. Very World War II in the naming, of course, of their Jaegers. It's like when you think of the Memphis Belle, World War II, they name it after a lady they met somewhere in Memphis, apparently. So it's like so there was somewhere along the lines there was a gypsy and she is dangerous. And there was some story there with the brothers, the Ali and his brother there, which one of them, maybe it was, the one who passed away there. We don't know. But, that those kind of little story tidbits you could have gotten out in that. I can actually go back. What's that? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought someone said something. I think of actually going way back, Blair Witch Project, the original one. They had this documentary that was made prior to the film that people got to see on broadcast television. This is the original Blair Witch, and this documentary was well produced and very convincing that this was real, and that in some cases was actually scarier than the actual movie was. The movie was fine, but it kind of prepped audiences for what they were about to get, and I think Del Toro could have done something like this. We did see a little of that with the Godzilla series. There were little like sound bites and things that were coming out about Monarch and all this kind of backstory. That was kind of cool. I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more of that. And yeah, that was something they could have done with Pacific Rim, but being that it was somewhat of a new concept for American audiences, for Hollywood, I can see why maybe they didn't go forward with that. Sometimes it can be oversaturation. So, but this one, this film was paced well, for an audience that's ready to have an energized, action-packed time. And it really doesn't take, someone who's big into film to appreciate this film, to be like digging into character studies and all this. Those are great things too to do with art house films and whatever else. But this one wasn't trying to be anything. It wasn't. It was paced, I think, perfectly well. And looking forward to what Samson's got to say about this, sir. Go for it.
Well, now there's not really much left for me to say. Why am I last? This isn't fair. All right. Y'all touched on great like points, but truth be told, American audiences, we don't have the attention span to wait for a 15-second commercial on YouTube. So the way that it was paced in the beginning, it was fine, because that compilation where we got to see like clip and like fast forward through time to when the film is actually like boom, it's set, it's ready. We got the Jaegers, they're awesome, they're kicking butt. But they could go back and make a prequel movie. They could call it, I just off the top of my head, they could have Pacific Rim Year One. And we could go through the first year of when this stuff was going down, where it was just the armies trying to fight it and the creation of the Jaegers and learning the technology and getting things started and the attacks of the Kaiju. But I like the pacing that was done. I'm not going to change what was already done. It's already a masterpiece, and I will kind of keep it short and sweet, just like that. It's great what they did. And could they do a prequel movie like Pacific Rim Year One? That'd be cool if they could.
I personally loved how it was paced out. I think for the audience they were targeting, they did what they could do. If they were going to flesh it out anymore, it probably would have dragged on. Personally, for me, I wouldn't have wanted to see the sequel be a prequel. I would have rather just gotten the Snyder cut, like an extended cut of it. 4-hour, dive into it. Give me all the
I'm game.
Let me just sink into that. And then for the second one, don't make it garbage and just build off of that. That would have been perfect for me. I love the backstory of all this. I love the universe that he built for this. I don't like how he made a massive universe and then just skimmed over 90% of it to shoot the Kaiju up through a wormhole and attack us. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but I want to see like how this started. I want to see what they've done before. I want to see how they conquer their worlds, because obviously they're very established. So I don't know, there's just so much information that's out there that's not out there that could be. It's very interesting. There's a whole world that they built off of one movie, basically, because the second one is, I don't know, I don't feel like it ties in very well. I mean, obviously it's continuation, but I don't know. I really wish that I could dive more into the first one.
Well, the ambiguity of the first one is what's also kind of great about it. Do we really need to have a super in-depth explanation behind the aliens? You got to see Newt get like that. Wasn't that his character, Charlie Day's character?
Yeah.
You got to see like him do like that crazy like rush when he linked up with the Kaiju brain, and you got like a ba 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 ba. But that's what I kind of like about it. Just kind of it's left to the you kind of get to like guess and be like, oh, there's a little bit of like question there. You don't. Some films I feel like don't need to have every dang thing explained for you. The fact that they kind of leave it up, it's good to just kind of leave it at like, oh man, because just the small sequence of them going into the alien world at the end, it's like, holy crap, okay, we get to finally see this. Are we going to get to know that? No, they just blow it up and the movie's over. Okay, cool. We don't get to understand like how they control it, what they do, how they open rifts. It's just like, nope, boom, just there's an alien world and they're attacking different countries or planets, universes. We don't really know. That's just they could be all across the universe and couldn't. It's who knows.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much. Yeah. There's so much backstory
fun.
of what they've already done, obviously, but there's no information about it, and it's like it's not frustrating. It's just like I want to know. I want to be able to sink my teeth into this universe like I can to a Godzilla, Ultraman, or Gamera type of deal. You know what I mean? So,
and I honestly, I think. Oh, go ahead, Adrian.
I was gonna say, like, I agree with that too, Cody. Because I mean, because like I said earlier, for the mainstream audience, the movie was perfect. Even for us, we even said just now that the movie's perfect. But us as Kaiju fans, we do want that. Okay, where did all this start? Where did all this come from? What's going on here? We want that extra depth and explanation. So hopefully one day, like you said, Cody, maybe we'll get that as Kaiju fans. I doubt it. It'll be great if someone made a fan film of it. That'd be just fine too. But we all agree that we definitely want more. The movie's perfect, but we want more. It's kind of the same thing with me and Godzilla vs. Kong. There's a lot of that was left out of that movie too. I would have been fine for 3-hour Godzilla vs. Kong movie because I would have been fine for 4-hour Pacific Rim movie.
Okay. Next year, man. Next year.
I was just gonna say, I just think it's a testament to Del Toro and his storytelling that like he did leave a lot of mystery, but it was such a good story for what he gave us that we were begging for more.
Yes.
And I'm with you, Cody. Like I want that extra information. I want to learn about these things. You know, why are they doing this? You know, where did they start? You know, all this kind of stuff. Why did they choose Kaiju? Is it because of our race? Do they choose different ways to take over civilizations? All this kind of stuff. Like there was so much information you wanted to absorb and know more about it, but I just think it's a credit to him for the filmmaking and stuff like that and the story that he gave us that you're like, oh my god, I want to eat more of this because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you do make a good point because what is their purpose? Are they trying to colonize Earth? Because we knew, like, at least in Independence Day, we knew why they were taking over planets. They wanted to like come down and colonize and take over the planet and make it their own for a little bit until they destroyed it. But do these things want to actually come to Earth?
Well, that's what they said. That's what
yeah.
Said. Yeah, they come in, they use up all the resources, they move on to the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah, when Charlie Day was doing his fight, high fast, really nervous, really talking like they just come in and they destroy everything. And that was
really good.
That was way too accurate, Samson.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone really had that complaint. I don't think anyone was really like just itching for more than information. I think it's just the nerd in me being like, what? There's such a big universe out there for this. Like that they're just
no, I'm not disagreeing with you for sure.
Yeah. That's the nerd in all of us though, Cody. So
yeah, like that Phil Collins song. I want to know. Can you show me?
Do you think the drift link between people is something that should be explored more in films? Because I'm not saying it's a totally unique concept, but the way they did it to control something like that, you don't see very often, and I enjoy it. I think it's a concept that's really cool. Samson, would you like to start?
You want me?
Your ideas?
I don't know. I've been kind of like feeding off of y'all's comments that I can come up with now. No, it was a cool concept because I love that these machines are so powerful that it's too much for just one man. And so the neural link was the only way that they could accurately, but that's a crazy concept because how fast does it happen? It looks like it happens in an instant because when the two brothers sync up, it's like, they're both just connected and they know everything about each other. But also behind the science of it, why is that what works? Why is that the thing that makes Jaegers work properly? So it would be nice to have a little bit more explanation in it. But was your question like, would you like to see stuff like that in more films, like that kind of way of doing things?
Yes, more in kaiju films, I guess. If you're gonna have that,
well, it's kind of some I did that and got wrong.
You know, Mecha Godzilla, something like that, Ghidorah. I just think the concept is.
That's what I'm saying. With the guy wearing the thing inside of the Ghidorah skull, they kind of did that. Mm-hmm. So it did. It in a way. I bet that's where they got the inspiration for doing that. Maybe it was from Pacific Rim. I don't know. I didn't make the movie.
I'll take it.
So it seems like we got a little bit. We got a little taste in the actual kaiju world, other than Pacific Rim.
Nick.
Well, didn't it fry that guy's brain too? Because he's just one guy.
That one guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was just
bleeding out of his nose and ears. And
if he had a secondary pilot alongside of him to help share the neural load. Yes, I think.
Well, is it that, or was it because of Ghidorah regaining consciousness and then just took over, and he just fried his brain because he's like, no, you're out of here. Like, I don't need you. I'm gonna take over this thing. Yeah.
That was the cut we didn't get, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was if that was in the subtext. It was definitely not in the text. So I think it was the whiskey that was poured into the controls. Actually, so it really got.
I'm taking over this thing. Yeah, screw you.
It was the drink that got him. It was. Adam will go into that.
Drink that killed the beast.
Yes,
it was a drink that killed the beast.
'Twas the brew.
It was the brew that killed. I like that.
Killed the beast. I'm stealing all Adam's thunder here. That concept actually was Del Toro talked about that in that Comic-Con panel. So information that I was getting, some of the fans were getting prior to the film, and when it was on screen, it was not at all disappointing. Even though there was a bit of a spoiler with that he came out with. But yeah, Cody, join us.
1 sec.
The drift is incomplete without you.
He's trying to neurally link to his. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
There we go.
Now, if he came back somebody else, that would have been impressive. Like,
he all of a sudden sounded like Batman. All right, I'm ready to go fight some Jaegers.
I know, but this is one of the things that would have actually be cool to see either in other genre films or non-kaiju films or anything like that. You've ever had someone who you speak with and it's like, man, we're on the same wavelength. We're talking the same language, someone who you're just in, synchronization of thought with.
Drift compatible.
And it's like you don't even need to speak, that they are that connected, whether they're neural linked or whatever, but they're that connected. And I think that there's something to that in films prior to, I don't even know what year, but it's like when characters can just with a look, they get it. They get whatever's going on in the other person's head, just with a look, just with a wink and a nod, that they get it. And I think that there's something to that and could be explored more. And this idea of the duality of it, of course, left brain, right brain, we have our hemispheres, maybe even going to the next step that if one of them was more artistic and the other one's more nuts and bolts, so left brain, right brain again, more of the creative side and more of the, just want to be more, I don't know what you want to call it, but with your precision kind of side of your brain working. And some of us have one side working a little bit better than others. And someone says to me, I'm too one-brained or the other. I'm too nuts and bolts. I can't be creative. I'm too creative, but I'm terrible with. Yeah. So it's like work with that concept. Go to the next step with it and tell me more about how this drift works. And of course, some of the consequences of the taking on too much of the neural load. Of course, we got a little bit of that in the film, but I think that could be explored even further. So I think that drift concept is very cool. And the fact that they didn't just use it for the Jaegers, they tried to drift with the Kaiju too, which was just like, oh my gosh, they're going there, they can use this for a lot of other things. I mean, I could see them using this for, some harsh interrogation of terrorists and prisoners. And it's like, where are the drugs coming in? You're not going to tell me? Okay, we're getting you in the drift, and we're going to.
Well, we're going to find out. Here, wear this.
Yeah. You might. Some of the side effects are, well, you might die. So it's like,
it's 90%. You're not going to make it.
Yeah. Been nice knowing you, right? So, Adam, what do you got?
I have so many questions about the drift. I wonder if this will show up.
Yeah, you got it. You made it.
See if
I didn't make the same thing as you, but I got a blue drink.
Yeah, Makita drinks. That's right. That's how we do it.
Yeah, I love the cloudiness of it, where it actually looks like that kind of oily, kind of Kaiju blood like you made.
It's not really showing up here, but
let's make him big so we can all see it.
Yeah. Well, I will do a video on this. We'll get there. But I mean, for the drift, okay, how is that the best system? Because they showed in that montage in the beginning, they showed like someone with their arm in a thing and how it was moving on the robot, but they didn't seem connected to anything other than something around their arm. So clearly that worked, but it wasn't good enough. Like you guys were saying, there's something about being connected cranially that makes it work. But then also, like there was a shot later. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Gypsy Danger. They're punching, and we see them in the suits punching this fast. But then it cuts to the Jaeger, and it's a really slow punch. So how long does that take to transfer over to the robot? I'm so confused on why that's the best system. And maybe it's just for the story, which is fine. I always just buy that with sci-fi. But then they talked about Pentecost said you and I are the only ones who've have done this solo. But didn't they explain that multiple people had done that, which is why they changed it? Or was it just him? He was the only case.
I think that during the test run, that one guy he freaked out. Yeah, he didn't make it. I think what he was getting at was him and the other guy were the only two that successfully took down a kaiju with one neural link.
Okay,
that's what it was.
That makes sense. But I mean, there's so much that could be explored with that about if there were a prequel, why this is the best system, and training with your partner to strengthen that bond between like Nick was saying, you just share one look and you get it. There could be facilities that teach people how to be drift compatible and different things. So there's all this psychology that could be gone into with that I would love to see explored. Just that on itself.
Well, they kind of did that with that little fight sequence where the main character Roy was going through and he's taking and only Mako was the only one that he liked because she was the only one that could fight and keep up with him.
Yeah, and I get that
physical aspect of it, the mental. Yeah.
So okay, if you can predict my moves, then you better understand me, and I get you, and then we can go back and forth. But if it's just me pummeling you into submission, you're not getting it, and I get that. That's fair. But I felt is that the best test? How compatible are we? Let's fight and find out.
Crack at each other and see if we can work together.
When I met my wife, it's not hey, let's try to beat each other up. See if this is gonna work.
Right. That's not what
I can't see of a better you're thinking, and those thoughts are getting transferred into this giant mechanism. I think that is the quickest way to get it done. Your limitations are the 50 diesel motors that are power each joint or something like that. I mean, we're using real world technology to power something that is very, very fiction. But because it's a DNA computer. You know what I mean?
If it's all in your brain, why would you still need to punch? Why would you still need to walk and do this? If you could just stand there and think it. And if you can do this, if this is what does it, why do you need to be connected with your brain?
Because it sends it before you don't think about moving your hand, you just do it.
But So
the
Mako,
mechanics of it are a little confusing for sure. Why does the brain
This keeps
slash
me up
them
at
having to
night.
wear the suit and be connected by the feet and the hands and everything? It's like what actually, what makes it really tick? Is it the brain? Is it being connected? What is making this thing punch?
Okay,
Eric.
I get where you're coming from. I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, you don't need all that. You could just sit there like, yes.
Yeah, I can just.
Yes. But that's not cool for a movie. So.
All right, B button. Hey,
It looks
jump.
awesome.
Got to keep the cardio
Down,
up
left,
while
right,
fighting.
B, A. Yeah, why couldn't they just use an Xbox controller? Come on, man.
Oh yeah, what could happen with that? What could go wrong?
Nothing. It works so great for me. I win so many games. Oh wait,
It's not like a sub went down or anything because of it. But, that's here nor there.
Too soon.
Is it?
No.
Anyways, yeah, this kind of goes back to our last question. It's more stuff I want explained. This brings up so many questions on how they determined this is the right thing, or how they even came on that that way of running these giant robots. Like, how did that happen? Like, someone was like, hey, let's connect two brains and they can pilot it. Yay. No,
The
that didn't
concept.
happen.
Yeah.
There had to be a whole bunch of trial and error, and I love that it's in this movie. It's very unique. No one's done it before. The only thing that I can think of that is maybe remotely kind of like this is Katsura controlling Mechagodzilla, because she wasn't using movements, but she was just using her brain to tell him what to do. So really,
if they could do that in the 70s.
Yeah, but the thing was that was Bluetooth, and there's a latency issue there. At least with this one, they had like direct cables, so it got to happen in real time. So there's a difference between Bluetooth and late.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and obviously that's why they did the whole neural link, is because the reaction time there isn't any, because you just think about it and it happens. Or like Cody said, you don't even think, you just move your hand or you do an action. Like, it's automatic. There's no delay. There's not where you look at your hand, you think about it, and then you move it. It doesn't happen that way. It just, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very unique for this movie. I like that they kept it here. I don't think anybody should really do anything like that, just because it's its own thing. And it just makes the film even more special than it already is because of this aspect. Adrian?
Yeah, I'm kind of on Adam's side. Well, I do want more of an explanation to it. I do want to know exactly like what is the trial and error between trying to find your Jaeger pilot. But at least with the brothers, I mean, they're brothers. They grew up with each other. They're gonna have an instant neural link because they did everything together for the most part. But for everybody else, especially with Nako, like, how did they, like, just because they thought they're automatically compatible? Like, can I have some more explanation about this, please? And to be honest, they wasn't compatible. We saw what happened. We saw that accident that almost happened.
Well, and that's another thing that wasn't explained, is like, how do they pick the people who are mentally like tough enough to take that load? Exactly. Like, do they pick people who are mentally strong? Or like, if you have like trauma, say, and you are faking it, then all of a sudden like that image or that memory comes up, and all of a sudden they just go down the rabbit hole, and then you're screwed. And then you have that's what happened with Mako and stuff like that. So like, that's another thing of how they pick people.
She had a personalized issue because she got to actually like witness everybody die in front of her by a kaiju.
Yeah.
So is it kaiju trauma? Is it personal trauma?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, do I want to see them do it in another film? No, unless it's going to be a prequel Pacific Rim film. But I do really love the concept of draft compatibility, because me and Eric always joke all the time that we would definitely be draft compatible. Because whenever I'm thinking something, he brings it up, and vice versa. So that I can see how that neural link would work, but I would like for it to be explained just a bit.
Now,
I don't think me and you, we can blue drinks and Gigan it up in here.
The real question is, the real question is how did they do the three brothers from China?
That's yes. Okay.
Yes, that
Okay.
How did they do 3 people and
Because they were
not just
triplets,
2?
so they had like even more of like a way of
Exactly.
connecting with each other. So they were neurally linked in the womb, so they can neurally link in a giant robot.
And
It's the
arguably,
robotic womb.
if 2 is better than 1, then 3, the more people, the more you're sharing the neural load, the easier it should be, right?
I think that's why it was so fast.
I did. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, maybe. I like that.
Well,
I like
maybe,
that.
and maybe too, maybe because they were all twins.
Yeah.
And that, people
Triplets.
talk about, twins having that connection where, they think alike or they finish each other's sentences and stuff like that. Like maybe that only worked because they were all twins.
A little late.
You were like 1 second behind. You were so close. You almost finished his.
Sandwiches.
Sandwich. Oh, dang it. I got actually something about the drift that's interesting. Did anyone see it's a classic film, Robot Jocks? In this film.
I have it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. It's the concept of the pilot in a giant mech. And it's just mechs fighting mechs. Every country puts up their best pilot in a mech and fights the other country or territory or whatever in this dystopian future. And they're inside and their movements control the mech. And but it's a single pilot. I think that idea that Guillermo del Toro to get away from a similar film that had the same concept of a mech piloting, being piloted actually with 2 pilots in the 2 hemispheres. So it's not as to steal that concept from our existing IP. But beyond that, I mean, isn't there 5 pilots in the Megazord? I mean, it's like some of these Power Rangers, they've got multiple pilots and what have you, Voltron.
I'm going to kind of end this with one word. Gundam did it first. Wait, that was like 5 words. How many words was that?
Actually, Sentai did it first, I think.
How many pilots were in the Gundams, though? I don't know Gundams.
I think it's one dude inside of a Gundam suit. I think it's one dude per.
Okay. I think it's one dude.
So as to differentiate itself, this idea of the drift, which became a really interesting subplot, and then something for them to use in other ways, like drifting with the kaiju, and that is, a military sort of, and they even tried to make it sound realistic that it was, based on DARPA technology, and that we may even have something in development now. But, for crying out loud, we had a hearing on Capitol Hill about UFOs, recently. So it's like, what else are we experimenting on in our federal government with military technology that they have something like this or better? And it's like, oh yeah, we've been doing that a while. We just haven't built the mechs. They're real expensive.
Yeah.
Well, the world's not at stake yet, so I mean, they're not building mechs for us. That's why.
I had a product idea for drift compatibility. Do you guys have you ever seen or used a shot ski?
Yes.
No.
Who said yes? Okay, so it's
in Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically like a board with a bunch of shot glasses like glued to it. And the premise is like you and a bunch of friends.
Oh,
fill
I
up
know
all
what
the
you
shots,
guys.
and then you all take the shots together. It's a mess because there's always people taller than someone else, and then it's like this, and then you can't sync up, and then someone always gets like the shot on their face. It's a problem. So I'm thinking like,
I've
okay,
never done that, but I want to now. Dang.
what if it's just 2 people? So you get a board. It's like Pacific Rim themed. There's a board, and it's customizable, and in the middle you can click in like the logo of whatever Jaeger you want. You can get the Gypsy Danger logo, Crimson Typhoon, whatever. And then you have.
Do you have to drink Jaeger though?
No.
Okay,
Oh
good.
God.
Thank God.
Oh, worst shots. But then you have like shot cups that match like the same color and design, and you and your partner like click them in, and then you take it together, and you got to make sure it's all synced up. Otherwise, someone's gonna get a face full full of alcohol.
Like somebody has to crouch, somebody has to like try to stand on their tip. Well, somebody has to crouch usually if it's like one.
And you got to communicate to make sure that works. You got to be drift compatible,
and you got to do it without saying anything.
Yes.
You have to somehow just like sign, just like
somebody out there 3D print this. I want to see it happen. Please.
That's what I heard. I heard of that drink. Jaeger and Monster Energy drink is the Pacific Rim.
Oh,
you take those two, combine them together. That's Pacific. That's the Pacific Rim.
It would be disgusting, but it would.
It is too. By the way, I already know it is. I've had it. I've had the Pacific Rim. It's nasty.
So while I love the concept, I don't think it should be really used anymore. Like Eric said, it's definitely a unique one and done type of system. I just think it works so well for the Jaeger. It was almost built for like the Jaeger. Just the idea of, when I think of that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how the Jaegers are, Pacific Rim. So I think that trying to build off it anymore, I wouldn't really agree with me. Now, what is that?
Not me.
Hi, kitty. No, I think the idea of them, but like Adam said, there is a lot of questions. Like, how does this actually work? How does this actually tick? Like, is this? I mean, it's obviously shown to be life-threatening if you mess it up. But like, how do you determine who's strong enough? Like, what if you're just a really good liar and you get in there and now you're in a $1 trillion mech blowing up a city? And it's like, well, thought he was stable. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a lot. Like I said, an extended cut would dig into that, and I would be satisfied. But it's cool.
Heck, and even MG 2002 had a traumatic experience and went rogue. We all saw that.
Yeah. Everyone has bad days. It's okay.
Yeah.
Even machines.
So in a very American touch, a very nationalistic feel. Do you think the Jaegers represented their countries well, or would you have rather had just one corporation making bot Jaegers, kind of like Pacific Rim 2, where they're all just kind of this army force? Or do you like that individuality where Cherno Alpha is literally a Russian nuclear reactor and Gypsy Danger is a good old American nuclear reacting running monster? You know what I mean? It's I'll let
Jeez, who?
I'll let Adrian start.
All the time back here.
Okay, God. So you got a cat, you have traffic. What else is going to happen?
Hi, kitty.
I don't know, but this helps.
See, that's why you do it. Okay, I get it.
Who's going first?
I think I like the individuality more, because honestly I haven't watched Pacific Rim 2 yet because everyone's scared me off of this. So like, yeah, no,
oh come on,
you haven't?
I'll
it's
watch
not
it eventually.
It's not bad.
I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
I'll watch it eventually. But I do like that they all individual and each country has their own different type of Jaeger. It's not just uniform and everything. I do like the individuality, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Their individualness is way cooler than just having a generic look-alike of one robot. When they started releasing like pictures of the Jaegers and the Kaiju and stuff like that, and they'd release, picture of, certain Jaeger for the certain country, like it was really cool. It was very unique. The looks coincide with the countries and stuff like that. Even the names coincide with the countries too, and it just made it as a whole, and it worked perfectly. But I always loved that when they were unveiling all the Jaegers, that you could see, okay, oh, this is from China, oh, this is from USA, oh, this is from Russia. I love that. I actually wish we could have seen more of the countries that actually made them and stuff like that, instead of the few that we actually got to see. It would have been really cool to see the concepts or how they thought a Jaeger should function based off of their culture and stuff like that. And I think that would have been super.
We have a special guest.
Katie.
No, we don't.
And everything. So
you need to
Yes, Dr. Evil, go.
I didn't beyond just the look of the Jaegers themselves, I was kind of fascinated by the tech inside. And I like how that wasn't uniform, how that would, like, if they're built from the ground up by each country, they might focus on different things and design things differently. Like, Gypsy Danger, they had the full coverage helmets that had whatever that orange liquid was that, like, then came down and went into something.
And then, had like the
Why was that a thing? What did that do?
That was never explained. It was
never
just
explained.
here's some cool sci-fi stuff.
Honestly, I think it was for boxing.
What? Well, like it was a gel for compression?
Huh?
Maybe.
Yeah, like the whole look of his head, and then like it went down, and then like it just covered his neck and everything. It almost reminded me of like a boxer.
Oh, okay.
Like he's protecting his chin and stuff like that and everything, and just like that concept of for like the USA, it kind of like reminds me of that.
I was thinking the pilots, because when they put on their helmets, it had the orange. And it was full coverage, and like that makes sense if they're going underwater and the water can come in. They want to be able to breathe underwater. But then you had like Cherno Alpha. They just had this thing that just covered just their eyes. So the last time I watched it, I was paying more attention to like how the inside of the heads where the pilots were and how different those were. And I appreciated that attention to detail about like, sure, if they're different countries designing this, those are all going to be different. So in terms of representing the countries, I'm not sure, but I do like how they were different and they were unique in those aspects.
Yeah. I think that uniqueness really works well. And Stryker, when they come out with the concept, and Guillermo del Toro talks about this in that commentary track, actually, about the very Australian look to him. And oh, you got the big fig of Turner.
Oh yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
original batteries too, buddy.
Yeah,
original batteries.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and that idea that because just the idea of maybe an Australian hunter and all of that, he's going to be very quick and just have that kind of propulsion kind of thing going on with him. And so even the blades, the concept of the curves and all of that Australian kind of look to it. Cherno, when you think of the big Russian, and he's just nothing but toughness, and he's not just the nuclear side of things, but that he's just down to earth, no nonsense, in your face Russian that doesn't have time for BSing around. So, that's what I loved about that. Crimson Typhoon, a very kung fu, just is smooth going on. Yeah. And, just the martial arts going on. Oh, look at that. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. And just so, and even the fact that, this is an international problem. Yes, it's coming out of the Pacific Ocean, but that's pretty much surrounds the entire world, and these kaiju are attacking different nations. I would have loved to see more nations represented in that, but of course we have to get to the point of dystopia, and we're down to only a few Jaegers in the Shatterdome, which was really cool concept of setting that up. And it's like we're safe in here, but at the same point we're getting our butts handed to us here by these kaiju. And so having them, and of course in one battle losing 2 in a row right there, and almost a third. I mean, it was just like, things are bad. And it's like, I just joined the Shatterdome, if you're thinking of Raleigh, and it's like 2 of them already out. I've got to get in there and save the day as the new guy here on the team. But that concept of it, really cool. And I'm with Adrian. I didn't see Pacific Rim 2. I didn't care. I heard enough about it, and I was just like, Guillermo del Toro's not on board. So, if I happen to see it and it's for free, or if someone pays me,
if you can watch it for free, it's worth it.
I just didn't care, so I just kind of let it go. I just wasn't really interested in seeing it. So maybe I will see it at some point, but I've heard just disappointment after disappointment. So, but love the Jaeger's design and love the individuality that comes with them.
It's on Hulu with a premium subscription. Whatever that means. So it's not really free, but if you already have that, you can watch it there.
I don't.
We're not talking about 2. That's not part of this one. All right. As all of y'all have previously said, the individuality of each Jaeger was great. It was cool to see what concepts would come out of certain nations' minds. America had like the all American looking Jaeger, and then you had Cherno Alpha, he was big Russian brute. He would go out and he would kick some butts. He was just like using no nonsense tank. Literally, he'd go out and just smash. And man, Nick, you stole my answer a little bit. But the with Crimson Typhoon being like the karate-esque, very flexible. He like could move fast. The whole sequence where like he does that crazy flip and his whole hindside turns around and he's right back to the speed. He's flexible, just like a Chinese kung fu fighter and whatnot. And then of course, one year old God, why can I not remember his name?
Striker
Eureka. Just he's an Australian, he's quick, he's fast. He's like, all right, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna fight some Jaegers. Hey, look at that one over there. That's a beastie beast right there. I'm gonna go up and smash it in the face. It was cool. And as Adam said, with the uniqueness of the designs of each nation's insides, everybody had the same basic blueprints for each Jaeger, but it was tweaked depending on where and when it was created. It wasn't all the same. So I'm glad it wasn't just cookie cutter, like, okay, it's like stamp, same freaking Jaeger. They needed to have their own unique touches to make them as good as they were, to make them fun. And that's why we like this film as much as we do.
No, you guys absolutely nailed it on the head. Like, I can't even say much.
So why did you ask the question if we all said the same thing?
But like the uniqueness of the Jaegers was probably my favorite aspect of this entire movie. Like, I love the kaiju design, I love the plot, but each Jaeger coming out, and it's basically like a WWE match. It's like, who is this character? What's his backstory? What's he got? Like, it's so easy to pick your favorite. Like, oh, I like this one. I like this one. Like, you got Cherno was always my favorite. Big Mark one of the first Jaegers. Just a brute defending the Siberian Wall, just beating the crap out of everything.
What's up, Elijah?
Then you get to the very end, one of the newest ones, like Strike Eureka, where he's very sleek and very slim, very fast. And I just love how each one has its own touch. Each one has its own touch and its own like personality to it. I truly enjoyed it, and honestly, my favorite aspect of the movie. It was like watching a WWE match for your favorite character. But it was just the Undertaker. So this movie really only gave you a handful of characters to really care about. Was there anyone that stood out to you that you really enjoyed? Like, who would be your favorite character out of this entire movie, human-wise? If you had to pick one. Start with Samson. Old Sammy can go.
Old
I'm the youngster of the group, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So call me Old Samson.
Cody
Come on, 7, buddy.
Oh, all right. I'm second. I mean, it's got to be Idris Elba's character. Just his as he says, "Don't let my calm demeanor fool." And just like he maintains coolness. He's just a cool, collected, just BASOB. And that's what I love about him. And then he can lose it and take charge when he wants to, but just his character, he's very just present. He has a presence about him when he makes the scene throughout the film. And of course he gives like one of the greatest Independence Day, like, let's go out there and kick some butt speeches before they cancel the apocalypse. So it's hands down, he's the most noticeable and standout character of the film, even more so than the main character, even more so than Roy. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And also he has like a heartfelt little thing with Mako. It's like there's a connection there. It's really cool and touching in a way. So him, hands down. And I don't know the character's name, just the actor. So that's a good one on me. Thanks, Brain.
Yeah. I love Idris Elba's character. He's got the best lines of this movie. I mean,
Absolutely.
and you notice that in that trailer, I use a lot of his lines actually because he really just when it comes to a trailer, you got to get those particular moments that don't point to anything specifically, but have broad 50,000-foot overviews. And he really does that, and those lines stand alone. You can etch them in stone. So, but as far as the character that I really appreciate and like in this is Newt, Charlie Day's character. I think he's hilarious. I think he's the heart of the movie. There's a lot of movies where you're like, where's the heart? Charlie Day's character is the heart.
He's love.
Yeah, he is the one who, he's the Kaiju groupie, and
he's relatable. It's in terms of what we are like. Basically, we collect and we love and we obsess over this stuff.
Got tattoos of him.
Yep. He just absolutely digs right into it, and he talks like a nerd real fast, and he's out there trying to get the info on the he's trying to get the Kaiju brain from Perlman's character, and it was just like that whole story there when he goes to Hong Kong and then comes back after nearly being eaten by the Kaiju. I think there's such a cool story arc to go in. So sometimes the secondary characters really relate to you well, and he's the one I'm going with. Adam.
I was going to say Newt as well. I mean, I could watch Charlie Day in anything, but yeah, I love him.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of stuff, because he delves so deep into the science and he knows so much about all the different parts of the kaiju and stuff, and that's the stuff that I eat up when it comes to sci-fi, is all that world building and okay, have they thought about all these different aspects of the biology and all this kind of stuff? And like, yes, clearly they have. And I loved his scenes because, like, sure, there was a lot of comic relief stuff in there, but it worked so well. Also, Mako. Gotta love Mako so much.
Whoa, what you got there?
That's cool,
right? Where did I get? I don't remember where I got this. I've been one of the Comic Cons, but like her, I loved her connection. Not just like I want to avenge my family, but also like I worked on rebuilding the Jaeger and added things like the sword and all this stuff, and I know how it operates. Just give me a chance to operate it. And I like that storyline as well.
Obviously the easy answer is Pentecost. He was by far the best one, but I'll go out and give a honorable mention to Mako. I really did like her story, as where she was a orphan, basically. That was, her family was killed by a kaiju. This absolute stranger takes her in, and basically she tries everything she can to make him proud and to not dishonor him in any way, shape, or form, and it was a good aspect between those two, good chemistry with those two, where she was trying not to be disrespectful, but wanting to prove herself to him. And of course, him took over the dad role for her, was being very protective and didn't want her to go pilot Jaeger, because I mean, let's be honest, the life expectancy of a Jaeger pilot is not very good, or not very long. So he didn't want to put her at risk. So just seeing that aspect with them, and just little subtle little things between the two, she wouldn't talk back to him. She wouldn't question his response or his answer, like any of that. Like, she respected him so much, but she also wanted to prove herself that, she was worth everything, and she could do everything that he wanted her to do and stuff like that. So it was a good story between those two and stuff, but it was great. Adrian?
First of all, don't ever touch me again. Second of all, don't ever touch me again.
That's line of the
It really is. It really Striker. He probably is my favorite character, but I'm gonna give love to the main character. I'm gonna give some love to Riley, because Riley really was a good main character. he actually has something to fight for. He was even with the trauma of his brother being ripped out the Jaeger with him, he still continued to fight on and kill Knifehead. He basically, quote unquote, stopped the riff and ended the count. So I think Riley needs to be given a little bit more love. So I'm gonna say my favorite.
Did he cancel the apocalypse? Do you think?
Talk to Pacific Rim 2 about that.
Postpone.
Postpone the gee dang it.
He stopped the clock.
Stop the clock.
Reset the clock.
Being a huge Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan, and then seeing Charlie Day get a role in a Kaiju series, a Kaiju film, I about lost my mind, dog. It was so cool, and I was so excited to see him on screen like that. And I swear to God, he killed it. It's almost like he was a Kaiju fan, the way he dived into it and just the way he talked about it. I mean, obviously, he's just a great actor. But it was just great seeing someone that I love do something that I love that is kind of personal to me and kind of specific to me in a way.
Specific Rim?
Specific Rim. But, I believe it was you, Samson. Yeah, like we are new. Like we are the ones that love these giant beasts that are known for killing and causing destruction, and we're obsessed with them. Want to study them, want to know everything about them. Like that is the collector in that universe, and I think it was really cool. And Hannibal.
It was Adam, because Adam was the one that touched on Charlie Day's character about being obsessed and like.
Okay, yeah.
The one that stood out to me is when he goes into Hannibal Chow's studio for the first time. He's like, "Oh my God, is that a leech? How do you keep it alive without the ammonia? What do you do?" Like he was all like freaking out. And he was like, "Is that a colon?" And he was just like, wired.
That voice so good. Oh my God.
I like Charlie. I don't know why I didn't say that answer too. I like Charlie Day a lot. I really do. So now I kind of want to change my answer, but I'll stick with what I got since y'all took it great with your answers. Yo! What's going on, sir?
Hey, man, what is up, my traveling friend? Chainsaw. You know what? Fair. That was epic. Epic. It was epic. Disgusting. Almost.
Well, then with Always Sunny, you had that same year. They did the Flowers for Charlie episode, which had I don't remember the actor's name. He played Gottlieb, the other scientist.
Him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's in the
Then they had both of those
in
the same Always Sunny episode.
Oh my God.
That's pretty funny, actually.
He's a genius, but he's just
charming. Yeah. I love that one.
Dude, that's cool. I didn't notice that. Oh my God. All right, start winding it down a little bit, getting the last couple questions. You guys been doing great tonight. Thank you for talking about this beautiful movie with me. And most people be like, Pacific Rim, dude, that ain't Godzilla.
Every fan that I know loves this film. The way that I saw it was at G-Fest that summer. That's the first time I saw it. Was July of that year when it came out.
Dude, this film would be so great to see in a room full of kaiju.
The crowd. It was so good. First time seeing it. Other people had already seen it because it came out. Wait, when did it come out? I think it came out a little bit before that.
2013.
Well, I mean the month. So I don't remember if it came out before G-Fest.
July 12th.
So it was the weekend of G-Fest. That's why I saw it like that. Okay.
Nice.
Good timing.
I'll be right back.
Oh, thirsty.
Well, what's up? What's our next thing?
So, would you, of course, I'm sure we'd all like to see a third Pacific Rim movie, but what would you like to see in it? I'm sure most of us wanted to go off of the first one and continue with that story, but is there anything specific you want to see? Maybe a prequel? Maybe a sequel way in the future? Like what would tickle your interests for another Pacific Rim? Samson.
Oh, I'm first again. Gee dang it.
Switching it up.
Well, I mean, I kind of like what I said earlier when I said, because we were discussing, hey, what would be great about going back and delving into the science and like, I really feel like Pacific Rim Year One would work. That could literally be the title, because I mean, come on, many movies do that all the time. Whatever, Year One, where we find out the backstory that didn't get to actually happen in the first film. So I think that a prequel film would be a lot better than another sequel, because if we're all going to be honest, those of us that did see it, second one was kind of a one and done. I saw it one time and I didn't re-watch it.
No, it's not good at all. at all. They killed it.
I'm not going to say it's not good. It's not bad, but it's not good. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, that's where I land right there. I land in intermediate. Just it's not bad, but it's not good either. So I think that a prequel that explains more of a slight origin story of the first year or couple years or whatever. Yeah, let's not do Pacific Rim Generations. We don't need one that's like 20 years down the line after the kaiju have come out for a while. We don't need Generations. No more Generation films. That's fine.
Fair.
It would be really awesome to get a crossover with the legendary Godzilla series. I don't know how they do it, but it can. I don't know how. I mean, you know, if they would have had the chance to refer to anything that was happening, of course, in the Pacific Rim universe, I think we would have had that. It's not that it can't be done, but it's not been done yet, and I think it was always teased that it could have been done. But if there was a way, and maybe this one could be not so much a crossover, but incorporate Godzilla in it. So it could leave out Kong, it could leave out the Mutos and the incidents that have happened with that, and just be somehow getting Godzilla and maybe some of our classic other kaiju from that, you know, that series. If there was a way to get Angulus, Varan, Mothra, Rodan, you know, some of them in there, maybe even some of the ones that like Varan that are, you know, not seen a lot in the kaiju universe, because they always seem to pick up on Mothra and back. You know, bring some of the ones that we don't, you know, get Gorosaurus in there, do a destroy all monsters, but yeah, maybe forget about the alternate dimension kaiju and, you know, get some earthbound kaiju somehow in there. And maybe it was somehow through this whole Pacific Rim opening, you know, rift in the fabric of time and space and what have you, that somehow unleashes monsters that came from Hollow Earth or whatever, that we somehow can get some more, you know, of the earthbound monsters in there. That would be for me just awesome. And of course, bring Del Toro back. That's the only way it's going to work. Get Del, or somebody who really has that appreciation that Del Toro had for, you know, he even talked about in the commentary the Nakajima effect, and that was one of the things that he was very much in favor of, that the kaiju are going to move with how Haruo Nakajima was such a master at what he did in Sudomation. But it was interesting, Del Toro was not a fan of motion capture. And I thought that was kind of interesting, actually, when he even talked about that. He was just in the Comic-Con panel. He's like, and we're not using that effing motion capture. And I was just like, you don't like motion capture? I mean, I guess, if the kaiju are going to move in a way that's unnatural to human beings, and Nakajima would contort his body in ways that you're just like, yeah, how is it that his body wasn't destroyed by the end of the first Godzilla and he kept coming back for more, playing Kong, Varan, you know, Godzilla several times, and you know, it was just like, but he appreciated that, and he even give credit to Ishiro Honda and Ray Harryhausen in the end credits. I think, you know, you got to find somebody who really is not just a kaiju fan, but a competent filmmaker like Mr. Del Toro. Adam.
I'm changing my answer to Nyx.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm picturing, okay, like Manda wrapped around Crimson Typhoon, and then Crimson Typhoon twists itself back around to unwrap it. Like, that'd be awesome. And you got that, you got Varan, you got all these other lower level, lesser appreciated kaiju from the Toho verse. Oh, that'd be awesome. But then, like Oscar was saying in the chat, like Gamera would be a good crossover. That would be bring a whole literal different dimension to it, because Gamera is like a friendly. So, like seeing them like, okay, here's a monster, but like it's helping us, like that would add a whole different dimension to it. But yes, otherwise, I was gonna say prequel. Like prequel. I feel like every thing that has come out, the comics, the movie, the Black each of those, it's gotten weirder and weirder, and they're trying to add more. Like, there's already so much that's great. Like, stop adding these other things. That's it's just so bizarre. So yes, go back, do prequel stuff. I'm there for it.
Excuse my ignorance. Which is this a period piece? Does it take place in 2013, or did they ever like let us? Did we ever really know?
They do.
Yeah. It said 2020, year 7 of the Kaiju War.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it takes place in 2020.
2020.
So, I'm trying to think of how that would fit into the legendary monsterverse in a way.
Yeah, that's why
those all like kind of take place like right when they actually come out.
Yeah, that's why it would be difficult to make it work. Is why I said what I said. It would almost have to be ignore Muto, Boston with Ghidra, and the Hollow Earth and all of that. You almost have to ignore what's already been established and go with Japan Godzilla.
Well, I mean, it's already such a bizarre thing because, like, in 2020, in reality, everything was fine.
Well, no, COVID hit, so
monster, a different monster unleashed. They delayed the apocalypse, though.
They delayed everything. It sucked.
Yeah.
So who's next?
Eric's next. Yes, you can go. I'm sorry.
So obviously, like I said before, I want a prequel. I want to know more about this stuff. I can't stress that enough. I'm just eager to know more about it and stuff like that in every aspect. But if we were to do like a crossover or something like that, I think a crossover with Evangelion would be pretty interesting, just because it would kind of be mech versus mech. They're both controlling them. They're both controlling them different ways and stuff like that. But there's just something different about that I think would be very appealing to a lot of people, and just kind of take the kaiju out of the picture a little bit and just kind of have some mech on mech action kind of thing going on. Would be kind of interesting to see more traditional like weaponry and stuff like that used on each other. Stuff I think would be kind of cool. But yeah, overall, and the second movie, I have seen it. It's in the middle. Like it reminds me of a lot of Godzilla movies where I like it for the action, but the story sucks. And that's kind of how I see it. The kaiju action is pretty decent, but I don't like the overall story and how they brought these people into it and everything. I don't want to spoil for anybody if they haven't seen it. But it's okay. It's okay. It's not the worst thing I've seen. I've seen way more movies that have been just atrocious.
Atlantic Rim?
Reptilicus?
But yeah, but overall, I would want a prequel. That's exactly what I want. So, Adrian.
I mean, I honestly do want a prequel, but Nick's idea was awesome too. But I guess I'll stay on the prequel train because I do want to. Because y'all know me with Godzilla movies. I love a very good storyteller. So be able to tell a specific realm from the beginning correctly, show us exactly how the kaiju attack happened, how they handled it, and when they did get the Jaegers finally built, watching that trial and error and everything in a 3-hour movie, sign me up for that. I'll be 1,000% fine with people. I do love Nick's idea, but I'm gonna be a sucker for people.
But you forgot about my other idea, which is Pacific Rim the musical.
No.
Go on.
Oh God! Are you, like how they did the Avengers musical and the Hawkeye series, like that?
What I need to be to you is a fixed point.
I'm in.
Are we drift compatible?
Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not.
The choreography would be fantastic.
Ending the apocalypse.
How would you like to die?
Okay. I'm embarrassed for all of us now. I'm sorry, audience. I hate that I got the yeah.
So,
Cody, yeah.
I love that you guys just steered this in the next question of what universe would this work with? So I guess we'll just jumble up both them questions into this one. You know,
Broadway.
Well,
I knew this is where it was going to go. Who doesn't want to see a crossover? To me, though, I don't think it works with Godzilla because like
He's
Godzilla
too
just
OP.
shreds them. Godzilla just obliterates them, and I think it goes for a lot of the Gamera series too. But you start throwing in some Ultraman kaiju, man, they're pretty lightweight. Oh, what are we doing here? What is going on?
Oh,
Mike, what is up, bud? Hey, what's up?
Freaking out, man.
We've been invaded.
You're a little late.
You were
A little behind schedule.
Well, it's been fun, you guys. I'll just catch you later. So, okay.
I can't believe that you six have been able to put up with each other this long, but you're still freaking streaming.
we're drift compatible.
Yeah.
It hasn't been 4 hours yet. We're fine.
Okay, all
I
right.
got one question left, and this is how you coming at me.
I mean, I love you, Cody, but you know I don't pull punches.
Oh.
Rocket punches.
That's a lie, man. If I ever done seen one.
I don't pull punches, and I definitely don't drink people's rum. That's for sure.
I'm pulling my Twisted Teas.
That's a G.
You need to go first for this next question.
Well, Mike, would you like to answer the question?
What's the question?
All of them.
Sure. Go ahead. Rapid fire. Give it.
Yeah, speed round. Let's go.
Come on, rapid fire. I'll do it. I'll do it under 5.
Okay. All right. You know what? We'll do that. We'll
Multiple
do that.
choice. Every answer C.
Favorite Jaeger design.
Gypsy Danger.
Least favorite.
The 2-headed one.
Would you rather have more build up in the first movie versus like the plot build up with the aliens coming down and anything, or would you rather just see the monster action?
I'd rather see the monster action.
Fair. What do you think about the drift? Cool or not?
I think it's badass.
You like how nationalistic all the Jaegers are, or would you rather have them be like Clone Wars where they're all the same?
Say that one more time.
Do you like
Cookie
how
cutter or individuality?
Jaegers,
Shut up, Samson.
like how the Russian is big Cherno Alpha, he's a big nuclear reactor. American one Gypsy Danger looks like an American badass.
I like how they have their own distinct personalities attached to their nationality. Yes.
Okay, I like that. If we got a third Pacific Rim film, what would you like to see in it?
More kaiju action and Mako miraculously brought back from the dead because that they fucked up in the second movie.
Oh yeah.
Fair. They did her dirty. They did our girl dirty. All right, the one we're on now. Oh yeah, no, that's it. Damn, good job. Proud. I don't even know where we were at.
Sorry, this is supposed to be PG. Sorry about that. But we're getting
here for 5 minutes.
we're getting dangerously close to 10 o'clock, so it's the witching hour almost. So I guess.
Where did we leave off at with who?
Eric over there looking all sad.
I mean, Cody, you were the last one to answer so I think we're on to our next question.
Oh,
literally.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the last one to answer, so we're on to round whatever 10.
Any kaiju or Jaeger stand a chance in the Godzilla universe, whether it's Showa, Heisei, Reiwa, Millennium, Monsterverse? Is there anywhere where these could realistically survive a fight and not just be crumpled up like a tin can?
Wasn't that kind of like the first question?
No.
Wasn't the first question which one did we think was
If it
going
would
to
work well. Okay, fair. Then we'll
That's
go to
not
my
similar.
last question.
Just saying.
We'll go to my last question then. What are your final thoughts on the Pacific Rim? On the Pacific Rim film? What do you like? What you think it was a stand-up, excellent point of the American kaiju representation? I kind of already answered that. But what are your final thoughts on this film? Adrian or Mike? We'll start with Mike.
I was going to say, let's make him go first.
I think that Pacific Rim gets a lot of credit for kicking off the kaiju renaissance when it started, because Pacific Rim brought the word kaiju to the mainstream, right? And even though the original movie didn't do so hot in theaters, it has since had a massive cult following, or it gained a massive cult following once it hit physical media, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. So I think Pacific Rim has a lot. There's a lot of things that we owe to Pacific Rim in terms of, bringing kaiju and mechs into the public, more of the pop culture forefront, and making kaiju part of the everyday lexicon amongst nerds. I think the second movie was lackluster, but I don't hate it as much as some fans do. There are things that I wish they would have done better. But I think the original movie, with all of my minor nitpicks about the original movie, I think it was an incredible film, and deserves the praise that it gets these many, many years later. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I try.
Samson.
Oh, me? Okay, I didn't know which direction. If we were going to jump up to Adam, or if we were going to jump to me. Yeah. So it is indeed. I feel like it was a good success. It doubled its budget in the box office because the budget was between 185 and 211 million, if I looked it up correctly, and then it got 400 and something $million. So it got double its budget back, and it was important in terms of launching. I mean, Michael, you nailed it. It launched. We kind of spoke of this earlier too, because it happened before the legendary Godzilla verse, so it already got people hyped up for what we were going to see next in terms of the legendary Godzilla films. And it's just an all-around fun film. The folks that I've shown it to over time, they all love it. I still love it. It was done well. It's by a director that is a fan of the genre, kaiju, giant monsters. So it was done properly. And it was fun enough where it's rewatchable. It's not a one and done kind of film. I'm not even going to touch the second film. I'm just going to focus on the first one. So, yes, I feel like it's very important.
You want to go in, reverse order this way? Yep. Okay. So I'll keep it very brief. This is one of my favorite films of all time. Not the favorite, but a favorite. It's got high rewatchability. It's aged well. And some of the things that I really point out about this film, and you really, if you're a fan of genre films like this, you don't have to be explained this. You already know what's going on when you have Del Toro give a lived-in environment like he has. He's got the Jaeger pilots waking up, and they're getting geared up and ready to go into battle, and the realism is there. Their outfits, are very World War II. Then they get into their Jaeger uniforms, and it's scratched up. There's oil stains going on around their base of operations there. Things are very used and lived in. And it's that Millennium Falcon kind of idea. You get into Han Solo's home, and it's kind of falling apart. He's not a good housekeeper, and there's it's oil stains and all that. Not everything's polished, and looks like it's brand new. So Del Toro know exactly what he was going after with that, because you can really enter into this movie and feel the realism. You can feel the characters' pain and love and hate and all of those things, the excitement that he gets, and then the horror that Raleigh gets of seeing his brother die. It's just like it really takes you into the film and makes you one of the characters. And so I felt like Del Toro really nailed it with the way he shot it, the way that it was written. It didn't really let up on any of those. It wasn't going after the Oscar or anything like that by trying to be controversial or start hitting upon virtue signaling or anything like that. It was just for the audience to be entertained, to enjoy, to rewatch, and really take us out of the world that we live in, because there's enough horrors out there. Why don't we get into something that we could really enjoy and sink our teeth into, essentially, to really get into that. And then, having some of those narrations that are like, yes, when he goes into, and Gypsy is going into the sea, and he's like, when you think about going into a storm, running away from the storm because it's scary, Jaeger, you can fight the storm. I was just like, yeah, he's just like, he's speaking to me. He's getting me excited for this. And so it's just overall one of the great rewatchable films of all time. And yeah, I'd look forward to seeing something new come out of this. I know there's some animated series, I never got the chance to really check those out, or in comic book series and all that, but I want to see something, on film, big screen, and give me that rewatchability, and don't give me what Pacific Rim 2 did. Get me something that is really positive and gives that, I don't even know how you would phrase it, but just gives the audience that kind of populistic, let's say, kind of excitement that films used to have, and it not all down and negative. I think it can be done, and I think if Del Toro would be willing to come back to filmmaking, I think he's now into animation. Now I think he's made the announcement that he is focused upon animation and all that, but he's a monster fan. We don't need to lose him as a director. I mean, even recently he tweeted out a great statue of a photo of a statue of the creature from the Black Lagoon. So I'm like, he's already, had me with the giant monsters, and now he's even, got the cool stuff with the Universal monsters, which is something else, another IP I love. So I'm like, man, we can't lose this guy with great films. He's got to get back into it. So I'd look forward to seeing what his next creation would be. We need more of these great monster movies. Adam.
Yeah, yes, more please from Del Toro.
Yes.
It's an expertly crafted movie. It's highly quotable. It's easily rewatchable. I just rewatched it again the other day, when I was working on the cocktail to get more quotes and ideas for it. And like I'm getting sucked in again, and even like things I know, even after the story and all the plot points, you're excited, like, oh, here's the part where and like little details, oh, like, oh, I forgot about that, oh, that was really good. And each time, I notice more and more. And like at our wedding, my wife and I walked out to our reception to the Pacific Rim theme, and it was yeah, that was so good.
She's definitely a keeper. She's definitely a keeper, Adam.
Yes. 100%. Oh, she just heard. She walked in. She's like, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it was so good. I forgot the question. What? Where are we going?
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Yeah. Final thoughts on it.
And it's still, and like, one of the best soundtracks. One of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time. Like every track is a banger. I love it. It's so re-listenable even outside of the film. And often, like, I'll watch a movie, I'll listen to a soundtrack and something, and be like, oh yeah, this is a top 100 song for sure. This is a top 5 movie. And then as time goes on, it might lower itself back down. Like, okay, I was excited at the time, but like this has stayed up here. And it sounds like for many of us that also rings true.
You can work out to the Pacific Rim soundtrack, man.
I do. That's the workout soundtrack.
You can lift weights to that. You feel powerful.
Yes. Like, yeah. I do my 5 push-ups. I'm like, yes.
Well, 5?
I can take on the storm.
We got a real Cherno Alpha over here. God damn.
You think he's joking.
Yeah.
No, you can do more push-ups than me. So I'm proud of you, buddy.
Oh, in the thingy. What I missed? Who's next?
Eric.
Yeah, overall, it is a great film. I really enjoyed it. I definitely felt like a little kid in the theater watching this thing, because seeing a flick in American theaters made by us about giant monsters and giant robots like fighting, like, yes, please, and give me more. Yeah, it was great. It was just a good overall film. Like Adam said, the score was amazing. It really was. Like, I was definitely going to touch on that if no one did, because that song and everything, that theme song is just to die for. It really is. It's one of the best, I think, ever produced, honestly. But it was just a great movie. I love that we, as a fan group, were able to get this and everything and enjoy it and stuff like that, and that everybody else was able to enjoy it, especially when we are not used to this kind of stuff and everything. And just the overall movie just kind of sent a message where like we can work together to solve problems. It doesn't matter who we are or what background we're from. Like when times get tough and we need to lean on each other, like obviously we can do that. There's people around us that can help us and everything and get through the hard times and whatever. I mean, especially as a society in general in that movie, like we had to rely on everybody else to make sure that we were not eradicated from this world, from these giant monsters and stuff like that. And we all came together as nations and stuff like that to fight the same fight and everything and really do it as a team. And basically, you know, fighting with somebody that maybe you're not the greatest friends with, or, you know, you don't like them, but you have to because you have to get through this and stuff like that. Like it just, there's a lot going on. Hey,
Wow,
Michael,
Eric getting a little Eric getting a little introspective and like
right.
Like,
I don't know. I feel like the Australians in the film were kind of jerks.
Like hit me,
they are, but like
right?
still,
The feels,
you
man.
still have to work.
Eventually, he did like go like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, like you still like you might hate them, you might beat the crap out of them 1 minute, and next you got to go out there and be in a Jaeger right next to them to protect a city of millions of people. Like you throw that stuff out of the window, and you're like, okay, you know, we're gonna do this together. I don't care, and maybe later we'll do Knuckles again, but like at the time, like you put all your differences aside, and you're like, okay, let's do this as a team.
I mean, come on. He even goes, "Come on, Gypsy, kick his." Well, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
He,
like
he was excited. He was like, "I don't like you, but Gypsy, let's go." He got excited for a minute there. He supported him.
It's just a great film. Adrian.
So my final thoughts, it kind of goes back to a comment that Daniel put in the chat earlier. I like seeing how Kaiju YouTubers talk about more modern movies instead of discussing show movies all the time. Thanks, guys. So the reason why I want to highlight this is because if y'all remember before Pacific Rim came out, we had a dead zone of Kaiju action since Godzilla Final Wars. We had nothing for 9 years.
It was Cloverfield and then...
Yeah,
Cloverfield doesn't count, guys. Cloverfield doesn't.
It doesn't.
Count.
It doesn't
It's a
count.
giant monster movie.
I mean, it does, but
it doesn't count. And
okay, I feel like this is a topic of discussion for another time. Dang.
And then basically, like we already mentioned, Pacific Rim is what really brought the Kaiju boom back. Without Pacific Rim, 2014 Legendary Godzilla wouldn't have been as popular as it was. Toho may not have made Shin Godzilla. So the importance of this movie is a lot more than people really discuss it is. And I'm glad that we was able to discuss it as a group today, because this film doesn't get enough love and appreciation. That's honestly why I wanted to do this show, because this movie is phenomenal. It's, for me, it's one of the best movies that we've gotten in the last 10 years for Kaiju movies. The only thing that I say is better than it is probably Shin Godzilla. Outside of that, nothing can really top this movie for me. I want to hear you come out. Shut up, Samson. No one asked your opinion. That's my opinion.
Damn.
But again, Pacific Rim is incredible. I absolutely love it. And I know Kaiju fans are going to love it for years to come, because even after 10 years, it still holds up.
Coming in hot, Adrian.
No, it's hard to disagree with that. It really is. Like I thoroughly believe that, besides myself and, you know, also like who we're going to be hyped for a Godzilla movie regardless. If Pacific Rim wasn't there, I don't know if Godzilla would have gotten off with the American audience as it did. Like, I really think that this movie set up like, okay, it was a good gauge on how the audience was going to take another giant monster movie after years of drought. Like, there was nothing going on. I won't say Cloverfield doesn't count, but like, it's not. It's a found footage film more than anything.
It's not an epic like everything we like to see.
Exactly. Like, it's cool. The shots are cool, but there wasn't that like, here we go feeling until
the found footage thing doesn't equal what we have. Yeah.
And then from there on, it's been nothing but kaiju goodness for the last 10 years. It's been beautiful. And I do really like to think that Pacific Rim jump-started that, just like Ghost Rider jump-started the whole Marvel, like, all right, let's build a universe. Like, let's build something huge here. I really think it started the train on that. And I love it. I can't get enough of Pacific Rim. I only bring up the second one because I just wish they did it right. There was so much they could have gone off of with the first one, so much they could have dived into that they really missed an opportunity there. And I get different director and everything, but man, I would have loved to see 3 or 4 of these films, and just I can't get enough of this. This is genuinely one of my favorite kaiju films of all time. Dude, I even want some Jaeger Safubi. Like, I know that'll never happen, but like, dude, come on.
At least get some kaiju Safubi. That'd be kind of cool.
Dude, yeah, give me a purple leatherback. I'll be a happy man.
Yep.
Those are my final thoughts on this film. I want to thank everybody here, everyone listening, everyone watching, all my beautiful, gracious hosts, and Michael for sitting through all of this. For sitting through it, letting us go about what we love. Let's get some shout outs. Let's plug our stuff. Let's gush about ourselves. What do we have to plug here? Adrian, got a YouTube channel to plug there, bud?
Here's the story of a bunch of fandom.
Yes, of course, I know I'm on YouTube and Instagram as Godzilla Train 1090. My next YouTube video, I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I think I'm gonna start diving into my Safubi because I have nothing coming right now. So I think I'm gonna hop into my Safubi and start talking about those finally. Of course, I have another photo shoot I'm probably posting my next photo shoot tomorrow, so be ready for that. And of course, check out Kaiju Questions on Facebook for all your Kaiju news. And I guess I'm on the subject. Our next show, which I guess I'll let Mr. Hamilton talk about that when it's his turn to do a shameless plug, it's gonna be another doozy. But that's all I got. Eric, how about you? What you got, brother?
Yeah, you can check me on YouTube, Bearded Kaiju's Unboxing Reviews. I review all different kind of figures, action figures, Safubi, whatever I get in. I review it, show all you guys, so you can just kind of see what I got and kind of experience different kind of things. Actually, I'm working on a video right now. I hope to have it out tomorrow. My last video was about my G-Fest haul and stuff like that, and my experience at G-Fest and stuff like that. So I actually reviewed a couple things from that haul and everything. So that should be hopefully dropping tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it for me. Samson?
Well, I guess as far as YouTube is concerned, I'm just simply Samson West. I don't really hide behind any other title than that. I recently came out with an unboxing video that was fast-paced and fun, and I'm trying my darndest to come back and do some more stuff. I just need the time to sit down and actually do it because I do want to come back. I miss the YouTube community. It's one of the most fun things I've done in my life. And other than that, I do Samzilla streams on Twitch where I play video games. I do the not so legal movie streams and just fun stuff like that. My whole channel is Godzilla themed. I have Godzilla sound alerts. It's Godzilla text. It's all just, it's kaiju and it's fun. You can come in and watch me play stupid video games and also talk about whatever you want. But yes, YouTube and Twitch are my two main things of funness. And
right. Take it from here. Thank you, Samson. And Godzilla themes, Gamera, all kinds of kaiju talk on the Monster Report. You got to check it out, and really appreciate all those that have already subscribed. We're getting to close to the 100,000 subscriber mark, and it's because of the fans
here.
because of and I've had some great guests here on this panel. Michael, Adam, Cody, I need to have you guys on very soon.
Absolutely.
Need to have you on soon. And but what I appreciate is not just the fans, but other kaiju content creators. So I try to make sure that I give them the chance to be on the show and talk about their outlets, their kaiju upbringing. We'll have discussions and just talk the geeky, nerdy stuff because I was there as a small creator too. And yeah. Yeah, Samson and I actually had a pretty cool conversation about the Korean film The Host with Kaiju Kingdom podcast host Chris Eaton recently, so that's one to check out. Do trailer remakes, do unboxings, reviews like that. Of course, movie reviews and all kinds of cool stuff that we do on the channel, and it's just been a whirlwind. Started with that one viral video that I have that Legendary Pictures actually retweeted, and that just put me on the map from that point on. And I can't believe it's the terrible acting of Nick Adam. That's I wasn't going to win any Oscars with that performance. I'll tell you that already. But the fact that it's went as viral as it did really helps things. So find me on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. And thank you so much. And Adam, take it away.
Yeah, my channel is youtube.com/ThirstyThursdayToys. I do toy reviews, share them, with Cocktail every Thursday. I have a Pacific Rim one coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going to be checking out this little minifigure set.
Aw, they're so cute.
Right? Because these are the in-universe little figures that they had in the movie, which is awesome.
Who's the middle one?
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's see, who do we got? Horizon Brave, Karloff. Oh, there's Trespasser. Who's talking about?
Those are the OG. Okay, I was like, what are these?
Yeah, Samson. So I do that. I'll be making the Kaiju Blue cocktail. So one of these Thursdays, that'll be there. All right, Michael.
Kaiju Ramen, kaijuramenmedia.com for magazine stuff, podcast stuff. I got to be at my very first G-Fest this year. Had a blast. Sorry, I'm a little out of it, guys. It's been a long day. But as my good friend Adrian alluded to, I will be leading a discussion next month because apparently there's a lot of anniversaries this year. And something else that's turning 30 is Power Rangers is turning 30.
Wow.
This year. So next month, me and my co-host Nate Marchand of the Power Trip podcast, we're going to be co-hosting a Monsters with Attitude crossover discussing the franchise, all the more phenomenal goodness that is Power Rangers over the past 30 years. So stay tuned for that. It was good. Thank you. More phenomenal. Yes. So it's going to be good. Also, but if you like that kind of stuff, the Power Trip podcast, right now we're reviewing Sentai. Our next episode that's going to be out is Car Ranger, which would later be adapted to Power Rangers Turbo. Will be out in next week sometime when I'm done editing it. It's a lot of fun. Can't wait for you guys to listen to that. And again, everything else, kaijuramenmedia.com.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Check out all these beautiful hosts. Check out all their content. Next month, Power Ranger Talk. You can't miss that. Who doesn't love a good Megazord? Come on. Thank you all for
Dragon Zord. I'm sorry.
Dragon Zord. Wait, you know what? Zord. You know what? Some of them Zord. Some of them Zord guys. I'm not a big Power Ranger guy, if you can't tell. I won't be on that one. But again,
shame on you, Cody.
We always love it, appreciate it. And until next time, see you later.
Bye guys.
Is nobody going to yell? Okay, never mind.